Fox NBA analyst Ric Bucher, but Acho. Are the Nets the best team in the NBA right now?
No, sir, they're not. And the lazy narrative is obviously to say yes. But as the youngest statesman in this current three box that I'm looking at, every now and then I have to take the responsibility of reminding you all of your roots. And Sal is Black History Month, so I think we still have
the
like
28th yet? 29th, 30th?
Chill.
Okay.
Savor the moment.
All right.
Slick. Endure. It's Black History Month, fellas, and I've realized that you know what came before hip-hop, Marcellus, Wiley? And hip-hop, which originated in the Bronx, you know what came before that?
What?
The Utah Jazz. So you know what came before the Brooklyn Nets? And it's not really the Utah Jazz, it's more so just jazz music. So what came before the Nets, Marcellus, Wiley? Has to be, sir, the Utah Jazz. And what's so beautiful, Sal, is like on paper, the lazy narrative, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. Oh, my God, yeah, they have to be the best team in the league. They've won 8 straight. But, Sal, need I remind you what Utah is doing?
What they doing?
Hitting threes at a historic pace. Blowing teams out at a historic pace. The Utah Jazz are on pace to have more wins by 20 points than any team in NBA history. They got 6 scorers averaging double figures. Number 2 in defensive rating, but also being number 3 in offensive rating. I understand it's easy, it's fun, it's lazy, if you will, to just love the Brooklyn Nets. Just like it's easy, fun, and lazy, if you will, to think that hip-hop came first. But before hip-hop came jazz, and before Brooklyn comes the Jazz.
Oh, boo. Boo. Get him, Slick Rick. Please get him.
You agree?
I can't get him. I agree with him.
Let's go.
It's no, no, no. And I think the most important 2 words in that question are right now.
Right here.
Right now. Are the Nets the best team in the NBA right now? It's the standings say no. The net ratings say no.
And what else say no?
And history says
say no.
Hell no. The Jazz have the best record overall. The Nets don't even have the best record in the Eastern Conference or the best winning percentage. Net rating, we got the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference, and 13 other teams, according to Basketball Reference, have a better overall net rating than the Brooklyn Nets. And history tells us that when you play defense as mediocre as the Nets play defense, that you can't possibly be the best team, and that's both right now and later. So I don't know where you're possibly going to go, Sellis, unless it's going to be, well, you know, the Nets are winning a lot, and they're doing that without KD, so you add him. And as a guy who believes in numbers and considers himself a nerd, that is just storybook time to go with that type of logic.
Hey, watch your mouth, man. I consider myself a nerd, not you, mother.
Yes, I mean, you're the nerd. You can't be telling me on KD plus the current Nets makes them the best team.
Hey, man, Slick Rick, you hurt me. You hit me where it hurts. Right there in my calculator where I keep right here in this pocket square. But damn it. Okay, let me look at my calculator right here.
Good luck.
Let me type in, would you say Utah Jazz? Utah Jazz versus Brooklyn Nets. Let me see. Oh, 130 to 96 without James Harden. Did they play each other already? Oh, yes, they did. Y'all want to come up here and talk about hip-hop music and jazz music. Y'all bet
you're going to that game.
Hey, I'm just going to when y'all faced each other. My bad. Let's talk about what's going on in Brooklyn. And I warned y'all. I told y'all from day one when they said they were going to form this big boy band. I said, this is going to be a problem right here. This is going to be a greatest hits album, and it's just going to happen every single time they hit the court. And it has happened. Y'all some basketball players. I know both of you guys well. Y'all played the sport better than me. I'm one of the worst basketball players ever. But I have ventured a time or two to Venice Beach, you know, to get a little run, because I'm 6'4". You know, I got a muscle or two. I'm going to get drafted pretty early. They don't know how sorry I am. And you know what's funny about it? If I ever showed up at Venice Beach and saw James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, you know what they would say? We snake drafted. They can't play on the same team. That ain't right. And you know why we snake draft? So you don't have 3 All-Stars on the same team. I asked you guys, any other team out there in the NBA have 3 All-Stars? No. Didn't think so. Let's talk about defense, because this is the Achilles heel of this team, at least the narrative. Everyone wants to say, they're not playing defense, even though they don't really need to. They're going to just outscore you. Let's talk about last night in the defense they put on the Orlando Magic, who shot just 40% overall and 9 from 36 from three-point range. As Steve Nash said post-game, our energy, our connectivity is unmatched right now. We are surging at the right time without Kevin Durant. I warned you guys. I told y'all I have passes to Coachella, performers backstage passes, and y'all told me, let me check in and see what I'm doing that weekend. Y'all should have showed up to the party when I told you it was going to be formed. This is a wrap, y'all. They coming out the East, and if my Clippers could come out the West, good luck to my Clippers. But certainly no other team out there is right now stacked even to deal with these boys.
Marcellus, you remember the Atlanta Hawks? Not too long ago. Remember them?
I do. What happened?
You do.
What?
How many championships do they have?
Donut, 0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
You know how many All-Stars they had one year when they had the best record in the league?
Right,
What you talking
3?
about, Willis?
The Joe Johnson year?
They had 4 All-Stars. 4 All-Stars.
Were they previous MVPs? Were they previous
They
MVPs?
win them a championship?
Were they
win them a
MVPs?
championship. All-Stars doesn't equate.
Were they
Break
MVPs?
them down. Is that Dartmouth greater than Columbia? Is that the equation? Is that Dartmouth greater than Site? Go ahead.
Here's the other thing.
What?
You're talking. I knew you were going to go to Orlando. You saw me smiling when you mentioned Orlando and last night's game.
I
You're
ain't
like,
like that.
did you see what they did to Orlando?
They did.
You talk about defense. You know who has the worst offense, the worst offensive rating in the entire league? That would be the Orlando Magic. Go look on this 8-game winning streak, the teams that they've played. There's only one team with a top 6 offense that they played, and that was the Los Angeles Clippers, a game that they would have lost if they weren't calling flops and
Ifs.
goofy stuff when it comes to officiating the game.
You want to curse.
All that said, this idea that they are the best because they have that star power, we've seen plenty of teams with star power that weren't able to ultimately put it together because they couldn't do it at both ends of the floor. And you mentioned Steve Nash, and you mentioned that coaching staff. I mean, the idea that that coaching staff is going to get them to being the best now or later is still a huge question mark. But I'm just looking at the numbers, Marcellus. I look across the board, and the Nets, I may be calling you to get into the club. I may be. There's that chance. I'm not dismissing that.
Not at all.
But as of right now, I don't need to get in.
Man, you trying to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Trying to go ATL on me on this Black History Month. That ain't gonna work. You know why? Because I don't want to hear a comparison of Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden versus their all-stars of Al Horford, Jeff Teague, Paul Millsap, and Kyle Korver. You trying to tell
You
me
just said 3
these
all-stars.
things are the same? Were they former MVPs? Hell no. I'm talking about the Nets that beat the Bucks, that beat the Heat, that beat the Clippers, that beat the Lakers, and that smashed the Jazz. I'm telling y'all, I'm at Coachella. Holler when y'all pull up. Coming up,